I need your vibe. DJ, let's go. I like the way.
Guy, I talk to you and be my friend.
What?
Me, you will be my tide, go roll together.
You and who?
Anytime you know, say,
One Toyota Corolla. My feelings been they swing like Django Lover. Feelings been they swing like Django Lover.
This is not nice. This is not nice. You are not supposed to get. You are not meant to get. Hello and welcome to Thav Exclusive. I am your host, Natasha Brown, and on this particular episode, we'll be speaking with one of the finest, most funniest content creators on the side of the divide, and is also known as the Red Carpet King. I've literally been laughing my head off, and his name is Ransom Sobeye Okorosa, and you don't want to go anywhere because this will be so amazing. I'm sure you don't know what his real name is, so just hold on, and I assure you this is going to be exciting, so stay tuned. All right. So here with me is the amazing Jojo Falani. I'm good. This is so exciting having you here. You know, I mean, right from the get-go, I already told you I enjoy your skits. It's so amazing, especially that music one that you do, that dance thing you do. I don't know where it comes from. You just shake, and that, you know, so. Before today, before we had this interview, so I went back to your Instagram and I was just looking through, and literally, this morning I woke up doing that thing to my mirror, and I'm wondering what, you know. But anyway, welcome on set. Lovely to have you here. So let's just get right into it. How long have you been doing content creation for?
Okay, I've been doing content creation for like 3-4 years.
Okay.
Since 2019, 2018, 2019, I started creating. That's why I started coming in front of
Camera and right, interesting. And that seems like to be the heat of COVID period as well. It's a lot of people came into their talent that COVID period,
true. Because that was when people could stay at home, create something, keep them busy, keep themselves busy, and that's it. It's better being creative and creative thinking.
Right, interesting. Is that what you majored in? No, like entertainment, media, theater, thereabout.
Okay, I'm major in general entertainment and the multimedia aspect.
Okay.
Because I create a lot of multimedia clips and stuff.
Right. Okay, so for your background though, what's your background like? Transitioning, coming into content creation, what was your background like?
Okay, initially I didn't plan on being born with the mic. I didn't plan on being born with the mic. I just wanted to create content, be behind the camera, creating content for people. But then
video editing and all of that.
Creating content for people, like creating like a mini multimedia outfit. But then the people I had around me then didn't really give me the energy I needed. They didn't reciprocate the energy, probably because they didn't share the same dream with me. So I had to just move on because this is my dream. I have to aim it, I have to work on it. So I moved on. One of the days, someone, I think it was my cousin, he told me, like, don't you think you can be in front of the camera and do this thing, since there's nobody to host the show? Then I gave it a thought and I tried. So when I did that content, the first content was me asking people their New Year resolution. And it was people were like, "Guy, you have this energy. You're doing it different from what I've been seeing. Don't you think you should keep doing this thing?" Then I tried again, went to one of the schools, and I did the content, and it blew up. Like I was getting like maybe 200 views from my previous content, but now I had about 1,000. And I was like, how? That was when I started transitioning from asking the regular questions to asking trivial questions that test the brain, and like
more like educational,
and making people laugh.
Right, at the same time. Yeah. Interesting. I mean, I know that I've watched several of them. The Suede one, you know, pronounce it and all of that. What is cryptocurrency? And then people are saying different things and I'm wondering what is going on. But I'd like to ask you, why do you prefer schools? Because I noticed that, you know, you mostly work with our students, and every time I look at your videos, I'm like, okay, I don't know what's happening. Is the educational sector bad? Are lecturers not teaching? What is going on?
Okay, you see, I prefer schools. Not like I prefer schools. I go to school because school has an enabling environment for me to create my content. Because whenever I go to campuses, you must see people, you must see students, and things like.
But always willing to come on.
Yes, and sometimes they run away. So things like content is educational. I have to go to an educational environment when I want to do educational content. But then I'm doing like the street karaoke that doesn't require much educational effort, much mental and intellectual effort. I just go to the streets, you have to just sing the songs and that. But then people that don't get my questions right in school, it doesn't really mean they're not sound. Probably
tension, yeah, and all the things.
Probably also maybe they are just focused on the educational part, forgetting the general knowledge, because life is not just about your education. There's more to life than your certificate.
Right, interesting. And then you have huge numbers, like huge following. I mean, I'm only even just talking about Instagram, that you have over 250. I mean, you have YouTube, you have all the social media platforms. But which platform had the first hit in terms of subscribers, in terms of numbers, in terms of followers? Which of the platforms did you hit it at first?
Okay, I think we keep record, but I can remember. I think it's my Facebook. But I was really.
Was that where you started from? Creating content there?
I had all the platforms.
Okay.
I'm very social media savvy.
Okay.
I know about social media stuff, so I'm always active when it comes to the latest information on social media. So whenever there's a new platform, I jump on it immediately.
So you're on Thread already?
I'm on Thread. I didn't sign up late on Thread. I signed up really late because I had information, but then I was just being reluctant. I signed up really late. So I think it's Facebook. Very getting much more reaction, because Facebook has this shareability. People can easily share content on Facebook other than Instagram. Instagram, you hardly share content. If you share content, you just stay between your followers. But on Facebook, if you share content, it can just go viral.
Okay, interesting. And then, funny enough, people don't necessarily even see the marketability of Facebook like so much, because a lot of people are banking on Instagram and all that. But Facebook has their particular, and then the fact that they're very dynamic, shareability and all that. But before I get into any other thing, you were highly successful. I mean, your numbers speak for itself. I mean, from this side of the divide, from the south and all of that. I mean, and even speaking generally in Nigeria as well. So what would you say has been pivotal to your growth and success so far?
Okay, my growth and success is me wanting to achieve what I want to achieve. Like being relentless, like being consistent and being creative. Because over time, you have to evolve. You have to evolve with the times. And anyone that's not willing to move with the times, I don't think that person will be making much of to be successful. You have to work with the times. Like these times, you're seeing the way things are going. TikTok and other platforms springing up. You have to follow the trend. While you keep your brand, while you keep your kind of content, your niche and your uniqueness intact. Just follow the times and do it.
How intensive is your work culture?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, people usually have this notion, what is content creation? I mean, what? Just get a camera and then do your thing. But from a number of creatives I've had like conversations with, there's actually work that goes into it. It's not just come and just do whatever on the camera. So what's your work culture like?
Okay, my work culture, first I have to plan a shoot. I plan my team and come up with new ideas. And when I get the ideas, I just fix a date. Sometimes we want to hit the streets or go and do a shoot. But then maybe in my lane, because most of our shoots and our content are created.
It's done outside.
So in my lane, and we have to reschedule. So that's it. And after shooting, getting the clips, you have to edit. And right now, I think the editing process is more complex than before.
Because different apps keep coming up, different methods of editing keeps coming up, and
you have to edit for different platforms. And when you're editing, right now, why I said the editing is more complex, because before now, anything, since the content type was too new, anything just give out.
People can just absorb.
But over time, they need to see something new. They need to see something different. So you have to put in more work. Your memes needs to be on point. Unlike before, you can just throw a meme and you just accept it. But now the meme need to be on point, especially my kind of content that I use meme to spice up stuff. Your memes need to be on point. So sometimes it takes me full day or even 2 days
To edit.
to get one content, to edit some content.
Wow.
But sometimes I don't blame at the editing and you lose that inspiration. You just have to go take a walk, really play video game, just do something else, and come back to it. So it's not really.
It's not just about getting a camera, because everywhere a lot of young people just say, oh, I just want to create content, and then, oh, so I need to get an iPhone, that's just it. But most of the time we forget that there's actually work behind the scene.
Yeah, of course, you need to get equipment that will help you get a job done fast and nicely.
Okay, so what would you say is that tipping point that actually edged you into success, getting huge numbers? That one video that you shot, that one content that you put out, that just got you all of this renown that you have so far?
Okay, I was making way gradually while asking normal school traders. But then it was when I started doing my street out, the headphone stuff. That was when. Because I did the very first one I did, I saw that the reactions I was getting increased. I really get maybe 1K views. But then when I did that one, I got 5K views. And when I was actually thinking about this content, this street karaoke thing, I was thinking about it and I didn't know how to go about it. That's why I said, for you to be successful, you must make a move. I was thinking, how will I do this? One day I said, let me make a move. I hit the streets and tried it. And it was really successful. Then I discovered that my editing style from the beginning and the editing style now has changed. So first of all, you need to start. For you to get something, you need to start. That's the first thing.
Right, like you don't necessarily even have to have it all together. You don't, because most times I think what we do is we overthink. Because you are there, you are planning. How can I do this? And before you know, somebody else just gets it out and you're like, oh my God, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do.
Right now, I have a new show called W Friday. I just started it and I executed it. The first episode was totally shut down. I never expected it. I was overthinking. So I just said, okay, let's just go and do this thing. I didn't even know how I was going to execute it. I just said, let's go out and do it. And if you notice the first episode, the only episode out, and it's successful. So I was like, how do I do it? I had no clue. But then I went out and I did it and it came out well. Now I have a pattern how it's supposed to work.
Right.
Because I've done one and I know this is the flow to getting it. So you need to start first.
I like that. That is so interesting. Do you vet your ideas? When an idea comes to your head and, oh my God, this is something that should be interesting. Do you vet it? Do you go to your team and say, okay, sure, this is what I have to do? And what do you guys think? Exactly. Is this going to hit?
Yeah, I really test my content. That's why sometimes my friends, they like running away because when I ask them, I was having a question. I'm trying to test that content and then to see if it will work.
Right.
Yeah, so I will just test it. I tested my team too. And I'll tell them, okay, what do you guys think about this? If I have an idea and I don't have anybody to share it with, I'll just put it down, take a note. I have a note pad where I have a lot of content, a lot of ideas I want to put out.
Okay, so taking it away from, your whole success story so far, I'd like to know, because it seems like, okay, so everything is easy peasy. We just see people come on the camera and then, either they're crying or they're singing and we're here laughing. But behind the scenes, have you had any one challenging moment, unscripted? So you went out there to shoot and then something just different happens from how you envisioned that, that content was going to play out that day?
Okay, it happens. Like recently, I had one. That was yesterday. So let me talk about one very memorable one. I went to one of the schools in Rivers State to do a content. I won't mention the school. So while I was on set, recording, asking somebody a question, all of a sudden, someone just moves my camera. So I was interviewing somebody, but as I just told people at the camera, I'm not seeing my camera again. My DOP is moving away with the guy. I'm I just left the scene immediately, to confront the guy. What's happening? And he started pushing me away. He was working with the boys. He started pushing me away. What are you? You can't even pick up my equipment and do that. That's when you are. Then they start attacking me. And I discovered that the person that came to carry my camera was the CSO of the school. So then it wasn't really nice that you just come and attack people
Without any form of dialogue.
At least with dialogue, like rational people that we are, dialogue, have a brief conversation, and if I'm being resistant, then that's what
then you can do that.
Yes. So we're just, but then after everything, I didn't actually get the content I wanted. So, I think I was.
You might still try to.
That reminds me. I think I'll still do that content.
Okay, no, but which one happened yesterday?
Okay, it's the same school.
Okay, maybe so the school is a red flag?
Yeah, that proved to be a red flag because the same school, I went to the school to do a contest, my doubly Friday show. Yeah, I go out and I give funds to people that answer questions. Like it's like a task where you answer 5 questions to get a certain amount of money.
Okay.
And I got there, it was going all rosy. Suddenly, they just came back. Stop that recording. Stop that recording. Like,
Same CSO.
Not the CSO. Like, have you seen our SOG? My manager approached them and said, calm down, relax. What's the problem? They were not listening. They just wanted to stop. So what's the problem? They were telling us about some people that came here, that came to the school some other time to do to cause havoc in the school. And I'm like, you guys don't know me, Abby. But you guys know me. They were saying, yes, they know me. And so why would people now attack me like this? When people see that you know me, have you guys seen me in your school coming to cause problem before? I've been to that school severally. And of the school, wow. These are the things we see.
I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine. I mean, it's not as easy peasy as we think that it is. I mean, there are challenges behind the scene. I mean, literally, there are people who would experience such and it just dampens their spirit. Like, why am I still doing this? Or should I even be going back to this same school? You know, maybe I should go somewhere else. Maybe I should pivot and all of that. But you keep at it. So that's really interesting. And I know that there are more challenges, especially as a creative, not just, you know, shooting and all that. So we'll get into that question just after the short break. Welcome back. Okay, so before we went on the short break, I was about to ask you all the challenges that content creators face, not just content creators, creatives in general. What other challenges would you highlight that they face in the industry, using yourself as a reference point?
Okay. One of my challenges is, because my content is people driven, one of my challenges is getting people
who are willing to come on camera.
Yeah. That's one of my biggest challenges. Especially now that my content have gone viral. So many people, when they see me, they run away. That's how I went to watch Ignatius one time. And you want to use me on Jojo, they run away. So that's one of my challenges. Because people have seen my content, they have seen my content. So most times they feel like they might not get it. So they run away. But then there are people that to get these questions, get the answers right, and I put them out. At least I want to let people know that there are still people that get the answers right. But then see my content is educative and funny, like comical. I have to blend the two together. You have to learn and laugh. Because if it's all right answers, right, it doesn't get funny. But I need to infuse that humor in it to make people laugh too.
Okay.
So that's why it's the wrong answers and the good answers.
Okay.
More of the wrong answers and just a few of the good answers. So at least someone has to learn in the end.
Right, interesting. So you have the challenge of people wanting to come on camera. This one.
The second challenge, I would narrow it down to the south, where it's pretty difficult to get
recognition, sponsorship.
Recognition comes when an industry is
backing up that particular sector.
Yes, that's where recognition comes. Now, people will only look your way when the industry is doing well. Because they see that there's something going on in this industry.
This particular industry is viable.
Yeah, exactly. Something that's profitable in that industry. So when there are no sponsors, when there are no people throwing support from the company,
Investors.
yes, investors, the industry just goes down. So that's one of the things I see here in the South. We don't really have sponsors because probably they feel like it's not profitable. But then there are creatives coming out of the South. Creative.
And being exported.
Yes, they are being exported. Like for instance, there's an artist that Don Jazzy signed recently. That's a Port girl. You see, because there's talent. Port River State and the South has a pool of talent, but then there's nobody to harness that talent. So that's the issue we're having here.
So what would you say are the blind spots that we have, especially on this side, that other state governments are not having? For example, so here we're in River State, yeah, and then there's a Lagos State government, and there's also Nigeria to the world, though. But niching it down, what are the blind spots that we have? Why are we not seeing the talent that we have? I mean, look at our Burna Boys, look at our Sabinos, look at we have them many. But at the end of the day, it seems like both private and public investors are not necessarily seeing the viability of it. But yet, when they see us do really great out there, everybody wants to get recognition with that. But back home, so what would you say the blind spots are?
The thing is that they probably don't see entertainment as profitable until you get really big. When you get really big, you see them trooping in, rushing to remind you about how. But that's not really nice. They need to see that entertainment is business and key into the business. That entertainment is the new oil we have in Nigeria. Entertainment industry is the only industry that is recognized worldwide, that is doing well in Nigeria right now. So our people need to see that there's money in entertainment. But until our people from the South see that, it will be pretty difficult for River State to be an industry.
It brings me to a personal question. Why are you still here then?
Okay.
I mean, because literally almost everybody will just export themselves to, where it's happening and where they can get bigger brands come on board. But you seem to still be here-centric with your brand.
The truth of the matter is that my kind of content requires me to keep moving. So I think it's an easier place for me to get to places like for instance from here I can easily get to Akwa Ibom, I can easily get to the east. If I'm in Lagos, so I can actually do that, but I prefer staying in a place in River State and traveling the world rather than being pressured in say Lagos State, because in Lagos State, yes, we know that in Lagos State you can easily get sponsorship, but then Lagos State puts you into so much pressure.
In terms of? So
much unnecessary pressure. Because of you trying to meet other celebrities.
Standard, okay.
Pressure. And I'm not ready for that pressure. I just want to have my money, grow my brand, travel anywhere I want to travel, take my team to anywhere, do my content, come back. If I want to stay in Lagos for 1 month, 2 months, I can just go, stay, enjoy myself, do my content, talk with people, and come back to my home. Because I believe, and that gives me, I feel at home in Port Harcourt. If I go to Lagos to shoot the content, their lifestyle there is totally different. In Lagos, you can't even hit the street to shoot the content. You will see all these Lagos people, they will come and gather you, and you see one bar to call and tell you that how do you call it, matching ground, what they call, like 5 sets. So it's really difficult shooting in Lagos. And even my friends have been used most of this content. He shoots them in Port Harcourt, if you notice.
Right.
But that what gives you opportunity, gives you an open space, a variety of places to shoot. That's what people, like the people, appreciate creativity, but the investors don't.
Right.
Like one day I was in the streets in my tree doing a karaoke shoot. Doing that, one market woman came out, brought money, and she was giving me money. She gave me money, I gave them that I was singing, like I was giving her joy.
Oh, okay.
So I was like,
it's interesting, so funny thing, yeah. This is the first time I've heard someone speak about, now I try not to make these interviews Port Harcourt centric or whatnot in comparison to other states, or make it, Nigerian centric, but sometimes I want to bring it home. So I really must commend you. This is the very first time I'm hearing someone telling me some positives that there is with actually thriving from here out there. So thank you so much for that. I mean, I'm sure that it gives some other creatives hope that, they can still be here and still export their talent. And I really like that about you. Okay, so let's go into the question of monetization when it comes to these social media platforms. How can one leverage off of them?
Okay, as a creative, one of the ways to make money is by monetizing a platform.
Okay.
That way, you know that you don't really have to wait for somebody to come and maybe patronize it directly. When your content is out there and it's doing well, you make your money. It sounds more like something where a channel will not tell you that so you make your money off your creativity. Now on Facebook, although Nigeria doesn't have that option for monetization due to one or two, but YouTube, once you get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you'll be open to monetization. You can monetize your channel, and with 1,000 subscribers, you can make money. You can making money depending on how much you work. I'm making this money, and when you get this money at the end of the month, you make a whole lot of money.
Depending on how much work, can you expatiate on that work
Like,
that you mean?
After
you hit the 1,000 subscribers thereabout,
the work is like,
what are those little things that you need to get right?
you need to optimize your channel. You need to post, like, one of the issues that I've got lately is that I've not been able to be dropping consistently.
Okay.
Because I had lots of engagements, lots of traveling, and lots of work. So, but then I'm fully back to start to keep dropping consistently. So if you drop consistently, you'll see that those little views you get, if you join them together, it will give you a bulk view. And the more views you get, the more money you make on YouTube. That's YouTube. It's unlike Facebook. Now, if people that want to monetize on Facebook, it's still possible. Everybody's watching on Facebook, pushing to Facebook because they want to get monetized. They feel like Facebook is greener, is rosy. Facebook is not as rosy as it is on YouTube. YouTube has been paying people for years, for so long. Facebook started paying recently, maybe like 5 years ago. But YouTube for like 15 years, I've been paying years. I knew when YouTube was paying people for having less than 1,000 subscribers, they'll pay you. Like,
right.
But now they want to keep it as a criteria to get 1,000 subscribers to show that you're serious, you're dedicated to your channel. So just keep dropping videos. Once you're monetized, keep dropping videos. So you accumulate lots of views and you make money. So that's it.
Interesting. But that would mean that you need to be patient. You need to continue to work. You need to continue to be consistent, and you need to also think on your feet and move with the times. Because you know how, so people start creating content and then immediately they're just so jittery and so anxious. They want to get to Sabino status, Lai Wasabi, or what's the international guy who doesn't say a word. He just uses facial Kabileng. Right, so and then they get frustrated. What's going on? Because I mean, literally, you're seeing people buying their Benzes and their houses, and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing?
The truth is that life is gradual, poco, step by step, one step at a time. Like sometimes there are some people that they never expected that they'll be this big. It just happens. It takes more content to be out there.
Right.
So that's where consistency comes in, and you have to be patient. Some people just want to make it big fast, and when they try for like 1 year and they don't see results, that result they are looking for, they will just say it's not working.
Pack and leave. Yeah. That's it. Something else.
That's because they don't really love that thing they are doing. They are just in there for the money. And one major spice to becoming successful in a particular field is love for the craft. You need to love the craft. If you don't love the craft, I don't think you can be patient enough. I don't think you can go with thick skill to carry on.
Right, interesting. That's so interesting. How long do you see yourself doing this for? Do you think it's a sustainable career path, or do you see yourself pivoting at some point in time?
Yeah, I see myself growing, evolving, because over time, if you look at my content, you see that there has been evolution in my content. Different idea coming in, and I'll be taking my kind of content to a whole other level. that I keep thinking of it, and I keep brainstorming my phone. And there's a lot coming up. It wouldn't be me doing, because like I can't reign, like no king can reign forever. I can't be there forever, so I have to think of how to also get younger ones. The serious ones, some people are not serious. Some people just want to make money fast. They don't want to put in that work. So I say how I can get younger ones. I want to build a multimedia powerhouse. That's what I just want to do.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting, and I hope that all of that turns out well for you at the end of the day. But if you were not doing content creation, if you were not a content creator, what else would you be doing? Football? What else?
Yeah, that's football. Yes, I know I can play football very well, but it wouldn't be football. And if I was doing content creation, I possibly would have been a DJ.
And then you said at a point in time you actually did that.
I was a DJ.
Back in the days, I used to be a DJ. But then I had to transition from being a DJ to other things. And life brought me here and here. And funny enough,
And you're doing really well being here.
funny enough, all the skills I gathered through my life is what I'm using to do my work now. Like,
What does that mean? All the skills you gathered through your life.
okay. Over time, I was like I've been a cinematographer for some comedians, some being I've been shot for 7 years before, and some other like in reverse industry, I've like shot for so many people. I've produced videos for so many people, and the skill I gathered from doing that production
For others.
yeah, I gathered while working with others. What I'm using to do mine now, like the video editing, I can edit videos very well. I'm a fantastic editor. I will not pass for a cinematographer.
Right.
So those skills, including the DJ skill of mixing beats, knowing how to place those the timing. That's why I used to edit that video. I take it step by step, bit by bit, to make sure that it sounds well to the ear.
Right.
So somebody that possibly doesn't have the skills might not be able to put this thing together. So all those skills, I've gathered them, and they are working for me now.
Right. Interesting to know that. You know how some people say that they never want to work with anybody or work for anybody per se. So they just want to do everything on their own, get their brand out there and all that. But it makes us see that, certain skills, or even when you deliver services to others or for others, it's never really at a loss. At the end of the day, eventually it culminates into something more tangible for you, because now all of those experiences, you can actually be able to use it wisely for yourself. Interesting. All right, so brings us to words of advice. What 2 words of advice would you give to younger creatives out there on the come up?
Okay, words of advice. First, as a creative, the first thing first as a creative, you have to be creative. You need to put creativity first. And when you're creative, creativity gives you an option to be unique. You get to be unique, because since you're creative, you can know how to put something together to get that unique feel.
Right.
So when you're unique, you sell faster. After putting out your creativity and like converting it to having a unique content, what next you need is consistency. That's the second advice. You have to be consistent. Some people just want to make it big fast, and after trying 1, 2, 3, it doesn't work. Just give up. So consistency is what keeps somebody there. Think of your content, be creative with it, then be consistent.
Be consistent.
Consistency gets you there.
All right.
Your content will definitely go viral and make you join the league of the big shots and big creators.
The big shots, right? Interesting. I like that. I mean, literally almost every big time creative out there talks about consistency, and that cannot ever be overemphasized at the end of the day. Thank you so much. But before we go, that thing you do to other people, where you just accost them like on the road, and you go like, oh, I'm going to let you in on a song title, and then can you sing it? And they're like, oh yes, I can. And then you go, so we're going to flip the script, right? Okay. I'm going to ask you if you can do a song, and definitely you give me your answer, and then we go from there. So now I'm going to be like a Jojo Falani, or a Jane Falani. And then you're going to do that part, right?
All right, bring it on.
All right.
Now everybody go chop breakfast. Shayo. Shayo. Yeah. You go bow for the result, oh. Nothing to discuss, oh. Cause I do win by default and without any doubt, oh. Omo me, I be adult, oh. I no go fit take your insult, oh. Omo mind as you dey talk, oh. I put my life into my job and I know I'm in trouble. She manipulating my love, oh, oh, oh. I know holy and I know then get post like Ibaba Fryo, my ayo. Don't cry, yo. I need to go and shy, 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 yo. Hey, let's go. I need to go and shy, yo. I need to go and shy, yo. I need to go and shy, yo. Shy, yo. Shy, yo. I dey Port Harcourt when dem kiss Obama. I try to buy motor, one Toyota Corolla. My feelings been dey swing like Django Lover. Feelings been dey swing like Django Lover.
This is not nice. This is not nice. You are not supposed to get. You are not meant to get. You're not meant to get it right.
I'm good like that. I'm not like my people.
I was
good like
waiting
that.
to laugh at you.
No, you won't laugh today.
I was
You try another day.
Anyway, guys, okay, so this is Jojo Falani on the set, and he literally got his own rights, and it means that he's good at what he does at the end of the day, and then him 1, myself 0
Ew.
at the end of the day. But thank you so much for staying tuned. Follow Jojo Falani for your amazing content out there. I'm totally a fan. I love what he does. I think it's amazing. Remember, this is Thav TV. I remain your host, Natasha Brown. Stay tuned for more of such exciting interviews because we'll be bringing you more amazing creatives out there. So for now, ciao, ciao. Till I see you next time.